In a world turned upside down, your greatest threat may not be the crisis itself, but the people around you. When the chips are down, human behavior can be unpredictable, and even the most ordinary individuals can transform into threats to your survival. Imagine this. The power grid has failed, the shelves of supermarkets are bare, and panic has seized the streets. Amidst the chaos, people's true natures begin to emerge. Desperate, violent, and cunning, these individuals aren't your average unprepared neighbors. They are the ones who will lie, steal, and even kill to secure their survival. From the desperate opportunist to the violent raider and the manipulative scammer, these are the faces of danger in a world gone mad. Recognizing them, understanding their tactics, and learning how to avoid or handle them could mean the difference between survival and becoming a victim. So who are these dangerous individuals you need to be wary of? Let's delve into it. First on our list is the Desperate Opportunist. These are your average Joes who never thought disaster would strike, but now they're desperate to survive. Now, the Desperate Opportunist isn't naturally a bad person. They're just like you and me, except they didn't prepare. They didn't think they'd need to. And now that disaster has struck, they're frantic, scared, and willing to do whatever it takes to stay alive. They didn't stock up on food, water, or other essentials. They may have laughed at the idea of a disaster plan. But when the world turned upside down, their laughter turned into desperation, and desperation can make people do things they never thought possible. So, what makes the Desperate Opportunist so dangerous? It's their unpredictability. They're not acting out of malice or greed, they're acting out of sheer desperation. They're frantic, scared, and they're not thinking clearly. That means they could easily turn violent, especially if they think you have something they need. Imagine a cornered animal, lashing out in fear. That's the Desperate Opportunist. They might break into homes to loot supplies, or they might take from those who appear to have more than they do. They're not above using force if they think it'll help them survive. So, how do you handle the Desperate Opportunist? The key is to keep a low profile. Don't let them know you have supplies. If you're seen carrying bags of groceries or other supplies into your home, you could become a target. Use defensive deterrents to protect your home. Reinforce your doors and windows, set up security cameras if you can, and consider getting a guard dog. Anything that makes your home appear difficult to break into could deter a desperate opportunist. And if you must interact with them, use misdirection. Tell them you're struggling too, that you don't have much. The less they think you have, the less likely they are to see you as a potential target. But above all, stay prepared. Keep your supplies stocked and your disaster plan ready. The more prepared you are, the less likely you'll become desperate yourself. And the less desperate you are, the easier it'll be to handle encounters with the desperate opportunist. Remember, desperation can make people unpredictable and dangerous. Your best defense is to keep a low profile and stay prepared. Next, we have a more organized and potentially more dangerous type, the violent raider. Now, these people are not your average opportunists. They're the ones who already lived on the fringes of society before everything went south. We're talking about criminals, gangs, or anyone who thrives in a state of chaos. When disaster strikes, they'll band together, emboldened by their numbers, and raid homes, taking what they want by force. What makes the violent raider particularly dangerous is not just their willingness to resort to violence, but their organization and firepower. Unlike the desperate looters who operate out of fear and necessity, these raiders are strategic, armed, and aggressive. They won't simply sneak into your home and steal your supplies. They'll destroy anything in their path, injure those who resist, and even kill if they deem it necessary. The violent raider is a predator who sees the collapse of society as an opportunity to seize power and control. Their motivations are not just about survival, but dominance. They're not merely stealing to feed themselves or their families. They're establishing a reign of fear and asserting their authority. Now you might be wondering, how does one handle an encounter with a violent raider? It's a valid question, and the answer isn't simple. The first rule of thumb is to avoid confrontation wherever possible. Remember, you're not dealing with a desperate individual here. You're up against a group, and you can't win that fight alone, no matter how well armed you might be. Keeping a low profile is absolutely essential. Don't draw attention to yourself or your supplies. The less the raiders know about you, the less likely you are to be targeted. If they don't know what you have, they won't come looking for it. Next, have multiple exit strategies. If your location is compromised, you need to be able to get out quickly and safely. Know your surroundings, have a bug-out bag ready, and always be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Lastly, consider setting up an early warning system. This could be anything from tripwires and motion detectors to guard dogs or lookout posts. The more warning you have of an impending raid, the better chance you have of either preparing to defend yourself or making a swift exit. Against the violent raider, avoidance and preparedness are key. Always have an exit strategy and be ready to use it. Remember, your ultimate goal isn't to win a fight, it's to survive. In a world where society has broken down and law and order have fallen by the wayside, staying alive is winning. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have the Manipulative Scammer, a wolf in sheep's clothing. This character isn't your typical thief or raider. They're far more cunning, relying on deception and psychological warfare rather than brute force. The Manipulative Scammer is a master of disguise. They might appear as a friendly neighbor, a helpless wanderer, or even a fellow prepper. They'll spin tales of hardship, appeal to your emotions, and make you feel like you're doing the right thing by helping them. But behind that mask of innocence, they're scheming to exploit your kindness and generosity for their own benefit. What makes the Manipulative Scammer so dangerous isn't their physical strength or weaponry, it's their ability to infiltrate your trust circle. They're not just after your supplies. They're after your strategies, your plans, your secrets. Once they've wormed their way into your confidence, they can betray your location, steal your resources, and put your entire group at risk. So how do you deal with this sly fox? The key is skepticism. In a crisis, it's crucial to be wary and discerning, even if it seems cold-hearted. Remember, trust is a precious commodity that should be earned, not freely given. Firstly, trust but verify. If someone comes to you with a story, check for inconsistencies. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't be afraid to ask probing questions. A genuine person in need will understand your caution, while a scammer will falter under scrutiny. Secondly, avoid sharing too much information about your supplies and plans. The less a potential scammer knows, the less they can exploit. If someone asks too many questions or seems overly interested in your resources, that's a red flag. Lastly, stick to pre-established allies. In times of chaos, it's safer to rely on people you've known and trusted for years rather than inviting a stranger into your group. Not every stranger deserves a place in your group. It's a harsh truth, but in a world where survival is at stake, it's a truth we must embrace. The Manipulative Scammer is a formidable foe, not because of their strength, but because of their deceit. They can turn your world upside down without lifting a finger against you. But with vigilance, skepticism, and a tight-knit group of trusted allies, you can safeguard yourself against their tricks. In times of crisis, it's important to be skeptical. Trust but verify, and remember that not every stranger deserves a place in your group. Now that we've identified these dangerous types, how can we stay safe? Firstly, let's delve into early threat detection. Being able to recognize danger before it escalates is a skill that can save your life. Look for signs of aggression, desperation, or deceit in the people you encounter. Their body language can often betray their intentions. Are they avoiding eye contact, or maybe they are too eager to get close? Inconsistencies in their story might be a red flag too. Pay attention to details, ask questions, and always trust your gut instinct. On the other hand, manipulative behavior is a more subtle threat. These individuals might use flattery, appeal to your emotions, or play the victim to lower your defenses. They might even offer to help or share their resources only to betray you when you least expect it. Remember, trust but verify. Now let's talk about one of the most critical decisions you'll need to make during a crisis, whether to bug out or stay put. This decision depends on several factors. If your area becomes too dangerous due to violence or scarcity, it might be time to bug out. This means leaving your current location and moving to a safer place, preferably one you've already identified and prepared in advance. Be sure to have multiple exit routes planned and keep your bug-out bag ready at all times. On the other hand, if the threat level is manageable and you have enough supplies, it might be best to stay put. In this case, fortify your location, stay low-key, and continue to monitor the situation closely. Remember, deciding to bug out or stay put is not a one-time decision. It's a continuous assessment based on the evolving situation. In conclusion, surviving a crisis isn't just about having supplies, it's about understanding the people around you. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and stay safe. In the face of disaster, knowledge is power. And the knowledge we've shared today is not meant to scare you, but to arm you with the understanding and awareness needed to navigate through the tumultuous times that may lie ahead. We've unveiled the 3 most dangerous types of people you may encounter when the chips are down. the Desperate Opportunist, the Violent Raider, and the Manipulative Scammer. Each one brings a unique set of dangers and requires a specific strategy to handle effectively. The Desperate Opportunist, the unprepared neighbor who's become ruthless in their fight to survive, can be unpredictable and violent. It's important to keep a low profile, not showing your hand or revealing what supplies you have. Misdirection can be your friend here. Then there's the Violent Raider, the organized threat that thrives in chaos. These people are aggressive and prepared to use force. It's crucial to avoid confrontation, have multiple exit plans, and set up an early warning system to stay one step ahead. And lastly, we have the Manipulative Scammer, the wolf in sheep's clothing, who will use deception to get what they want. They prey on your emotions, your kindness, and your trust. Be skeptical, avoid oversharing, and stick to your pre-established allies. We've also shared some practical survival tips on how to spot a threat early and when it might be time to bug out versus stay put. These could be life-saving pieces of knowledge in a crisis. Remember, the human element is often the most unpredictable in any disaster situation. It's not just about having enough food or water or being in a safe location. You have to understand the people around you, their motivations, and their potential actions. So, take this knowledge we've shared today, digest it, and add it to your prepping toolbox. Because, remember, the most dangerous element in any crisis is often the people around you. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and you'll have the upper hand when disaster strikes.